All summer long, the Love Island fandom was driven by toxic obsession over people none of us had ever even met before, and I was one of them. I was on my couch, day in and day out, watching every episode, even after sun. I even went to a Love Island finale watch party. So the call is coming from inside the house, and as a proud American, Liberian American, there are some things that I can't continue to let go unsaid. So, Love Island USA, can I pull you for a chat? I'm Shelly Smartin, your Liberian American princess, and this is the LAP podcast. Every season of Love Island shows us the same thing. Black stories get cut short, minimized, or edited for drama, and that says a lot about who's behind the camera. Maybe it's because they can't relate to our lives, maybe it's because they don't see us as people. Either way, the demonization and the dehumanization of Black contestants isn't just on our TV screens, it's on our phones. Let's be real. The Love Island fandom on social media is its own villa. We sit online making couples our entire personality, shipping, unshipping, defending people we've never met like they pay our rent. And the moment a certain Black girl enters the villa, the comments turn from she's an it girl to she's a mean girl real quick. That double standard doesn't just come from nowhere. It comes from a bias we've normalized and recycled in our everyday. And shows like Love Island shine a mirror to these biases that we carry throughout our society. So let's not act like the edit is the only problem. The fandom does half the producer's work by spreading those same narratives online. So when we talk about Love Island, we're not just talking about dating shows. We're talking about what the world decides is lovable, marketable, or too much to handle. And that's why this conversation has to keep happening. I held off on this conversation because I thought that too much time had passed in the season for my opinion to be relevant. But when Shelly and Ace broke up, it feels more relevant than ever with them being a Black couple. So let's get into it. The Black edit. Shelly, our Haitian Bratz doll, came to life on our screens as the first to enter the villa alongside another doll, Alandria. The problem started for these two before we even got to the villa. When Shelly was first flown out to Fiji, she had other plans for her hair. They didn't pan out as planned, so she improvised, braiding her hair herself. Production was afraid that her hair would affect the look for their show, not taking into account that the humidity of Fiji is very unforgiving. And so is the world when it comes to Black women in their hair. So if you ask me, regardless of whatever agenda or image they were trying to push, she was just protecting her peace.
Nice to meet you. I'm Huda. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
It was clear in this moment as a viewer that they were clearly trying to make fetch happen again. But it was very rare that lightning strikes twice. So spoiler alert, these three did not end up being the best of friends. Shelly's story in the villa took another spicy turn when a blast from the past entered the villa. You know when you go out looking all cute, but then a man comes up to you, but you're not about to change all of your life plans just for some random guy. So you just give him your Instagram and you go on about your day. That's the case of what happened between Ace and Shelly. That's how they met.
Alandria. I know you.
Wait, Ace, did you just say you know Shelly?
I do know Shelly.
How do you know Shelly?
Ace immediately admits that he knows her, and the fandom takes this information and runs with it, trying to create narratives online that Shelly and Ace were trying to cheat the system and pretend to not already be in a couple and get matched together on TV to give themselves clout on the platform. This narrative didn't pan out, in my opinion, because by them existing in the villa, it was clear to me that they had a spark, but these were still two strangers trying to figure each other out. In fact, it happened in the first episode. If someone had an agenda, would they say it's a sign when they weren't paired with the person that they were supposed to be with on day one? If Ace had an agenda, would he be lip locking every girl he could get his hands on in the first episode? If you ask me, they came in very single, but casting knew exactly what they were doing by bringing in people that were under each other's comments on social media a year prior. They wanted to create doubt in the potential love story that could unfold between the two, and that is exactly what they did. This script I wrote months ago, and I haven't touched it. I'm just now reading it out loud. Seems pretty poignant to things that have taken place. Okay, let's continue. Shelly's first half of the season was met with many fans calling her an it girl for being on every man's wish list when they entered the villa. Even though it was clear as day that her heart belonged to Ace from day one, I enjoyed watching her figure it out for herself, as many did. With her laugh out loud one-liners, open communication, and understanding, she became a favorite. But all of that changed when the infamous heart rate challenge took shape. Huda, a girl who was her friend in the villa, decided to go too far with Ace during the challenge while being in a couple with Shelly's other connection. The fandom turned on her immediately, giving her death threats, her losing followers by thousands, news outlets showing favoritism, and production stayed silent. But she wasn't the only one called a mean girl. Her bestie in the villa, Alandria, was also a prime target for hate immediately when the very next episode aired. And how did we get here? The Bama Barbie, it girl of the season, started at the very beginning in a couple with the cowboy of her dreams, Taylor. But as the producers would have it, per usual, Casa Amor was the beginning of their tumultuous end. Taylor, after groveling for Alandria's affection and growing in their connection for over half of the season, once separated, falls head over heels for another Southern beauty, Clark. And if that wasn't enough, she gets sent home as all the girls wail like it's her funeral, and she's steadfast in her containment of emotion. But then, Alandria is officially born, with their biggest fan being Nick.
I just want to say, I've been wanting to get to know you. I feel like we haven't had the opportunity to get these conversations.
Agreed.
And I think this text is the perfect opportunity to do that.
It was in that moment that I became painfully aware of the affection Alandria had not been shown by Taylor. Because Nick was able to do for Alandria what Taylor couldn't do in 5 seconds, and they weren't even a couple. When Alandria and Nick were saved by production, it wasn't solely due to the fact that they were fan favorites, but they in fact had fans shipping them together. They already had a ship name, Alandria. So imagine my heartache for Alandria when she enters the villa after missing Taylor for days, and this is the warm welcome she gets. How my heart sang when they shared that kiss felt around the world.
Being outside of the challenges.
And how my heart sunk when Taylor picked Clark twice.
It's gonna take one bad bitch to come in here and just rip him away from me, because I feel like what me and Taylor have is like no other.
Clark.
After the humiliation ritual she was put under, being the backbone and crying shoulder of the entire villa, dealing with people lying to her and her friends, I'm not shocked that she had what some may frame as a villainous moment between her and Huda at the infamous Stand on Business challenge. I would have done worse. Regardless of this mistake, the punishment doesn't meet the crime. We weren't just talking about losing followers. Why is it that people are so comfortable to scrutinize Black women openly at such an extreme overreactions that don't warrant that unnecessary reaction? Because it is socially acceptable to hate Black women, to hate Blackness in general. The moment these two women who have been near perfect do something displeasing to the audience in one action, they aren't granted the same grace as understanding like their other co-stars have been. They are met with vitriol and hate. Let's get into the couples. Taylor and Clark. Taylor and Clark were not only the first couple to go exclusive in the villa, but the only couple to have a Casa girl win over an OG boy. So in the game of Love Island, Clark has made quite the achievement. However, Taylor created a very messy storyline for his love story that made it hard for even me to root for.
Yeah, something there, but it's just like...
Taylor, as mentioned before, was an OG cast member along with Alandria. What I didn't share was that Taylor had a hard time being open and honest with Alandria. Producers allowing us to see this shady side of Taylor made him come off as dishonest. He was simply omitting the truth of his feelings because it didn't benefit him. In order for him to stay on the show, he has to be in a couple. So lying to Alandria and pretending to be more into her than he truly was aided in his ability to stay in a couple with her. But once he got what he wanted from the situation, things changed.
Because you wanted the idea of exploring somebody, which if you would have stayed sitting down, you still would have had that chance to explore this girl.
Yeah, but...
Hold on, I'm not.
It's not there, it's not there.
You gonna lose her. She not gonna wait forever. You feel me?
Very attracted to me.
You try to say?
On my connection with Clark off for 24 hours than I did with the first 24 hours of Alandria.
Are we good?
My head said pick you, but my gut said pick her.
Now, Taylor isn't the only black man on this show that is disliked by a huge majority of this fan base. It's also Ace. Couples. Ace and... Okay, so Ace, being an OG cast member, had a different origin story. Already a famous TikToker with over 1 million followers, this guy knows a thing or two about branding. He, however, was a bit unlucky getting into a couple with a girl from Miami who was a little too comfortable with saying the N-word publicly.
Right, you fuck my nigga, perfect, but that's it. Like, now I'm fucking my nigga, he's my nigga.
And was immediately removed from the villa the next day.
Yulissa has left the villa.
Producers, I'm judging you. So Ace set his sights back on Shelly, and then Amaya, and then back on Shelly, and then Iris, and then back on Shelly. So Shelly, never wanted to be just an option, made sure the connection she made in Casa made it to the main villa. And I fully support her, making him feel just a tad bit of what she had. So it's not a nice feeling, is it? It's not a nice feeling being the other option? No? No? Well, okay. When Chris comes into the main villa, it rattles Ace a little, but not to the point where he stops pursuing Shelly. When the heart rate challenge goes too far with Huda, he can't see past the hurt of Shelly kissing Chris in front of him multiple times. Regardless of the fact that Huda licked him, did things I can't describe for YouTube. But if you know, you know. Okay? While the rest of the cast reacted like this. Supposed to be her friend. Then the following episode, his emotionally closed mindset cannot comprehend the openness of the self-expression that Amaya has, to the point that it upsets him, and they get into an argument about that.
See, you're very wearing your heart on your sleeve. You're very passionate when you talk.
The fight doesn't stop there. Then you have other men in the village joining in. This display is a microcosm of a deeper issue that I have with Ace and men like Ace. Ace is 22. He grew up with a lot of red pill content being repeatedly accessible to boys in his demographic. And actually, it's not just him, it's the men of the season. All of these guys have commitment issues. They stem from different things, such as a lack of romantic experience, being emotionally closed off, detachment issues. I don't know. All I do know is that the result is that for the first time in Love Island history, there were no strong couples by the midpoint of the season. And a driving force of this is the fact that this is the first all Gen Z cast. And Ace is the one that all the men were taking cues from. It's funny because the producers wanted a reprisal of PPG, but what we got was
Three Musketeers on three. Three Musketeers on
Now Musketeers.
three.
I need us to figure out a name. We gotta figure out a name. Should make one like just like unique.
You like the Stooges? That's funny.
That's funny. Oh, good job.
And what made them coin the term Mean Girls from the fandom was their shocking elimination of Dream Boy Jeremiah. I am on the road to 1K subscribers, so definitely be sure to give me a hype, give me a like. So let's get back to Jeremiah. Jeremiah, the lover boy who locked in on day one with Huda, a decision he would come to regret. During the first challenge, Jeremiah decided to dodge the kiss of Miami girl in favor of staying with Huda. That more closely look-wise was his preference. She immediately love-bombed him, then followed that up with withholding critical information about her personal life that would directly affect him and his decision-making in the villa. But the truth didn't benefit her, so she waited until she felt secure enough in their connection to tell the truth. These are two people who are immensely attracted to each other, but that's all that there is. That's the only part of their connection that they've nurtured up to this point. From sleeping in bed together every night, which all the couples have to do, by the way, to taking showers together, to making out, to cuddling all day and day out. Huda, like any young woman, developed a level of comfort, ability, and vulnerability with Jeremiah that was premature. This led to her inhabiting vitriol and rage to new bombshells that were, in my opinion, unwarranted. Her also feeling overly confident in her connection led to her passing judgment on other connections in the villa.
Y'all deserve some real men.
Girl, you don't have to play that.
I'm just saying.
No, you've been supportive. I love that, but it's okay. Have a nice little chat. Okay. It's okay. It's not because of what I said.
What you said? She was like, no, don't do that. In front of everyone. Talk to me in private. Say something like that.
No. Wait. I don't think she meant any harm to it.
Like, I would never do that to somebody.
No,
like, that's so rude.
It's okay. Give me a hug. It's okay.
These weaponized tears would soon be looked at only as the first display of what the public and Nick would later coin the term of as Hurricane Huda. Huda's most egregious offense came during the challenge, of course, where a new bombshell entered the villa, and this was the first time America got to choose the couples, not a date, not a safe boy or girl, new couples. And America voted for the crash out of the season. We caused this to happen. I voted for Jeremiah and Iris too. So we voted to carnage, we voted for the mess, we voted for violence, and oh boy, did Huda deliver. The first day of Hurricane Huda, I was entertained, but by day 2, I was concerned, and day 3, I was scared. For not only her, but everyone else, and I felt like she should have been removed due to her mental state, but she adjusted somewhat. The walls were put up and it continued to be the Huda show. However, everyone else was tired of her and her antics because she's the only person in the villa looking for love. Like, it was insane. And when you are constantly involving the entire house in your drama, it becomes insufferable. So I'm not shocked that Alandria and Shelly blew up on her because I would have been tired too. Huda dealt with some backlash online, but not to the same degree as her black counterparts. Also, they never had public support from production in the same way that Huda did. Huda was allowed to throw a tantrum on our screens for a week. And Alandria and Shelly had one bad day and they were met with the same amount of hate for not the same amount of actions. Huda's other victim in the villa was Chris. The 6'8" gentle giant that was coming for Shelly's heart right out the gate. Or so we thought. Chris saw the emotional connection that Shelly and Ace had and decided to go where his connection was more than wanted. What we later witnessed was this scene that speaks for itself. It's dismissive, it's disheartening, and straight up abusive. So it did leave for me a satisfying conclusion when he left Huda all alone on that final date. Now, if you want me to make a separate deep dive on the Afro-Latino contestants and the Latinx experience as a whole, share what questions and thoughts on their experiences you have below. If you've made it to the end, you are officially a part of the Royal Village. So be sure to give me a hype, give me a like, and drop this emoji if you made it to the end. And be sure to be the change you want to see in the world. Bye-bye. And if you're not sick of me yet, you can try and see me attempt to do Andriana's leg routine. I tried. Okay, bye-bye.